Hey, you guys, are you feeling tired? This is for you because I'm going to talk about a hidden cause of being tired that you may not realize. And that is actually, could you possibly be iodine deficient? This is something that we were taught in medical school. When I was in medical school, they said, nobody's iodine deficient anymore because we're putting iodine in all the salt. And the fact is, that is just not true anymore, right? And so, could iodine deficiency be part of what's driving your loss of energy? Because iodine is essential for lots of things. Of course, most people think about here. I'll share my screen for a second. Most people think about the implications such as low thyroid, but low thyroid is just one of those things. Iodine deficiency can also cause problems with growing a baby, like with a fetus. A fetus that doesn't have adequate iodine and has thyroid issues can have a lot of problems. Also, cognition, neurological deficits can be linked to low thyroid, brain damage, gastric cancer, breast disease. All of these have been associated with iodine disorders. So, all right, so then you want to know, well, how do I figure out, am I iodine deficient or not? You will hear people talk about a patch test, and I'm not necessarily a big advocate. I sort of like doing the lab test because that way you really can tell if you're iodine deficient. But a patch test I'll tell you about in case you're not able to go to a physician. You'll paint like a 3 by 3 inch spot of iodine on your skin. All right, so it's pretty kind of subjective. You paint it on there somewhere in a place, and then you let it dry right before you put anything on top of it, and then it should stay there. And if it goes right away, you think maybe I'm iodine deficient, right? And then you might want to get a lab test. When I was looking this up online, because I don't do that, I actually do urine testing, and I'll tell you about that. It said in the online source, which was a chiropractor who looked like he knew a lot about iodine, and I have friends that do these tests too, that it should stay there for a day, for 24 hours. And that if it's significantly gone after 18 hours, that may mean you have a problem. All right, once again, so that is, that might be affected by multiple things. So skin color, how dry your skin is, or how, lots of different things. The way that I would prefer to be testing this is by doing a 24-hour urine test is the best way, right? If we all could, catch your pee for 24 hours and check it for iodine, that'd be the best way. But you can do a random urine to creatinine ratio. So it gives you basically the concentration in a random sample of urine. And if it's less than 100, you're deficient. Okay. So that's something simple that your doctor can test for. Certainly, all y'all, if you have thyroid problems, somebody needs to do that test. And because I'll tell you, because I didn't even know about this a few years ago until I started to check iodine. When I'm like, gosh, you're not converting your inactive T4 into T3, or, for some reason, you're really trying, your body's trying to make thyroid hormone, but it's not doing it. And then I started to check thyroid levels, iodine levels, and I'm like, drop the mic. That's what's going on. This person needs more iodine. It's important that we think of it, right? Your doctor may not think of it, but now you are going to know to think of it. Check it, and then what are the sources of iodine? Seafood is a good source of iodine. Seaweed, kelp, nori, kombu, wakame. The problem with seaweed is that it can have elevated levels of heavy metals, which is kind of not so good. So if you're a heavy seaweed snack eater, kelp eater, you may want to be also checking cadmium levels, right? Because cadmium is a toxic metal. It's not good for us. I would not go super heavy on the seaweed snacks personally because of that exact thing. So the other place is dairy products. Now, for those of you guys who are going to go on low dairy, which is usually something I suggest to lower inflammation in the body, maybe we have to find another source. Eggs can be if the chickens are fed iodine enriched feed, but you don't know. How do I know what that chicken was being fed, right? I don't know. Iodized salt. However, with iodized salt comes the salt. And, I'm not anti-salt here, but it does seem like for some people, too much salt is not very good, right? If you've got high blood pressure, a significant number of people with high blood pressure have problems with salt. So fruits and vegetables sometimes, but it depends on how they're grown. Some grains are enriched with iodine, but again, grains can be inflammatory. So then we're down to supplements. Supplements, I think that what would drive you to take a supplement is if you had a low level and because you know what? Too much of a good thing is not a good thing. And what we know is that not only can deficiency be bad, but we also know that too much can create issues. Now, what's too much? The recommended daily allowance is 150 micrograms a day, and the upper level recommended for ingestion by the American Thyroid Association and all those guys is 1,100 micrograms of urine a day. And I got to say, in the same breath, I'll share this with you really quick, that if you're in Japan, you're eating, because of seaweed intake, you're eating 1.2 milligrams per day in Japan on average, which is more than the upper limit of what we are suggested here. And it doesn't seem to be linked with cancers there. So it is possible that the RDA may be a little bit lower than what we all really need. And perhaps, I wouldn't go blasting that upper level of normal. I wouldn't be taking a lot more than that unless I was deficient. And you want to test. Test, don't guess. That's the big message here. So it's very important if you are pregnant or lactating, because it's important for the development of a baby, and it's important for kids to have plenty of iodine. And you want to find out where your levels stand so you're not guessing. And if you're deficient, correcting that can help your energy. All right. And it's pretty easy. A lot of times I will give somebody a supplemental iodine that's in a drop form, and they just put a drop in water once or twice a day. It's super simple. It's not like you got to swallow a big pill or anything like that. Iodine is probably absorbed through the skin too. Some people will do it topically. And I hope that is a little bit helpful. And I want to also mention there are some other, if you're worried about your thyroid, there are a couple other nutrients that I will always test. Iron is essential for creating that thyroid hormone, and selenium also. I will also check zinc. So these are some of those supplements that can be supportive for your thyroid and for energy, because your thyroid supports the energy. All right. So I hope that's been helpful. And if you want to hear more of me like riffing on what could help you, go ahead and follow me, friend me, subscribe to me, all that stuff. And I hope that you have an awesome day and that this is